Hi everyone, Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com here to share with you a video tutorial on how to create this sweet little pumpkin, perfect for Thanksgiving or Halloween. Of course, in this light you can't really see it, but I've got a battery operated tea light in there, and this whole pumpkin glows orange. It's really, really pretty, and it's also really fun to make, so let's get started. What we're going to need is 2 pieces of cardstock. Tangerine Tango is what I'm going to use. Pumpkin pie is also very pretty. And a piece of vellum cardstock. These 2 pieces have been cut 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, and I've run those through a Big Shot embossing folder. So get those all pretty and ready to go. The other thing we're going to need are some punched pieces. You're going to need 2 blossom punches. I chose Old Olive, and of course my tangerine. 2 circle punches, 1 3/8 circle punches in those colors. My Build-A-Blossom punch I used to punch out a couple small petals and a couple larger ones with that fabulous champagne glimmer. And of course a sentiment, because I guess every pumpkin needs a sentiment. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to take our 2 pieces of cardstock, and I've got some Cajun Craze ink on my sponge, and you're just going to give that just a light sponge so that'll kind of pop. We're going to do the same thing over here to our vellum, but a very light touch. We don't want the vellum to get too dark. So once you're done sponging all of that, you're going to take these pieces and cut them down into 6 strips, 4 1/4 by 3/4. So you're going to have 6 of each when you're done, and that's going to look something like this. There's one last thing we need to do to prep these pieces. They're going to look like this, and we need to just snip off just these little edges, just a little bit. You'll see why here in a minute when we go to start putting it together. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll take my blossom flower, and I want to sponge the edges of that. We're going to be using the Tombow quite a bit for this project, and what I want you to do is just put a little bit in each petal, and we're going to come along the sponge side down, please. And we're going to want to adhere these onto our petals. Now you want to make sure too, make sure I'm doing that right. Make sure you're kind of keeping all of these as straight as you can, so that when your pumpkin goes together, it'll be all nice and rounded. All right, so once we have all these pieces on, now we're going to want to come on and do our vellum. So to do that, I want to find my sponge side, little bit of Tombow on the edge, and that's just going to go right in between. And again, make sure you're kind of right in between 2 of your Tangerine Tangos. And you're going to continue to do that all the way around, and it's going to look something like this when you're all done. Now, we want to take that tangerine circle punch, 1 3/8 circle punch that we cut, and get plenty of adhesive on that, and adhere that in the center. Give that a really good press, and that's going to kind of hopefully secure all those pieces down. Okay, now we're ready to come in and start building this little pumpkin. We're going to take our Old Olive blossom punch. I've also sponged the edges of that. This one we want to give just a little bend to, just like this. Not too terribly hard. You know, we want that pumpkin to kind of stay rounded, but just to give it where it's a little flat on top like a pumpkin would be. Here's the trick. I want you to only put adhesive on 4 petals. And it's always interesting trying to do it with the camera and making sure I'm staying in the view. I'm going to hold those for just a second. And you notice the only thing I'm adhering right now is just the orange pieces. All right, those are good and held. Now we're going to come in with our vellum, and I want you to put the vellum in with putting the Tombow directly on it. Tuck it inside there. Give it a hold. All right, you're with me. So we're going to do this all the way around. Now, but we're not, well, I shouldn't say we're going to do it all the way around, because I only want you to get 3 pieces of vellum on, okay? So when you do that, actually I guess it's going to be 4 because I want you to have 4 pieces remaining. The reason why we need those, we need to be able to get in here. So I kind of need those opened up. But here's how we're going to adhere those. Like I said, it gets kind of tricky trying to work in that little space. So we're going to take that 1 3/8 circle, and I'm going to put a little vellum, or a little Tombow on that vellum, and adhere it so it looks like that. Now we can come in with the Tombow and adhere these pieces to that circle. Give those a little hold there till you feel good. Now, here's the tricky part. Here's that part. We got to try to fit our whole hand in this thing. I'm going to get Tombow all over that. Hold your tongue just right. Stick it in there. Oh. You only have to do it one time, so once you got it, you're good. But you notice that piece is what's allowing me to kind of fit a couple fingers in there to give that a good press. Oh, now one of them cut loose on me, but that's okay because that's an easy fix. I can come in, I can pull that one out and just re-glue it. But now that we have that, let's go ahead and decorate the top of our pumpkin. To do that, I've got a little piece of tulle here, about 4.5 inches long, about 3 scallops worth. You notice my scallops are on the outside edge. We want to take that and just gather it so the scallops are on the outside. We're just going to tie it in a knot. You can even give it a little stretch if you need to get it to tie. Well, let's try it again. You can also give it a little twist in there, and sometimes that helps because it keeps it from kind of unraveling on you. There we go. All right. Give that a good pull. So now we have the top of that. We're going to come in with a mini glue dot and attach that to the top of our pumpkin. Again, I've got that little opening there, so I've got the ability to work. Now we can come in with our petals. I also sponged those in just a little bit of Cajun Craze. And we can add those with a mini glue dot. Okay, and you can give them a little lift. You can also run them through your Big Shot if you'd like. Same thing with those glimmer pieces. Let's add those really quick. What I do love about this project though is that it's one of those projects that's great for Halloween or Thanksgiving, and I like that. I like something that I kind of have the option of using in a couple different ways. Last, because like I said, every pumpkin needs a sentiment, we'll adhere that on right there with the mini glue dot. And the last thing I did is I cut out a framelit, and I just did it in chocolate chip just to kind of give it a little base to sit on. We can now take our tea light, turn it on. Come on. Oh, sure, the camera's on. It doesn't want to work. Okay, it worked a second ago, but you can just tuck that in there. Now with this one, don't glue it on. If you will just tuck it in, it's actually going to stay in place, so it's just fine to sit like that. And there's your pumpkin. Like I said, little sticky fingers, but I think a few sticky fingers are worth a cute little project like that. And I know my family, when they come over for Thanksgiving, will be very impressed with my little tea light pumpkin. And I hope your friends are impressed as well. Thanks so much for tuning into my video. I hope you have a great day. Oh, but before I go, I have to give credit where credit is due. Rebecca Harwood did a video on a paper lantern, and she's actually the one that kind of inspired this project. Hers was a little bit different, but when I sat down to make mine, it kind of looked more like a pumpkin, and I added the vellum. And so anyway, a big shout out to her for helping give me the inspiration to come up with my little pumpkin. So there we go, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you're having a great day, and happy stamping. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.